However, um, a handful of parts do seem to be missing. Not,
Hmm.
major parts or anything, but definitely like a thing here, a a small, electronic part here, firing pin there. Parts which at first you're like seemingly random, like maybe I misplaced them, but then you realize that each of these parts can be used as an identifier.
As an identifier?
Yeah, so as in if someone, has a know-how and skill, they could use those parts and figure out what they're like specifically what they're for. Because
Mm-hmm.
despite old guns, having a firing pin, every every model of a gun has a different kind of firing pin.
Oh, so they're different.
S-
The firing pins and things like that for different forms of weapon are missing specifically.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it seems to be all in this collection of things that you've been recently working on.
He
So
raises a brow.
it looks like, and you know that maybe one thing you might have misplaced, two things, it's a possibility. Three, no. Four, definitely not. Five, no.
All right, who else on the ship knows
Impossible.
enough about guns to take my shit? Because
Clack.
he knows,
And you
Mac
hear
knows a
the
little
clank,
bit, but
clanks, clanks, clanks. Yeah,
he without
Mac knows a
looking.
little bit, but a few of these things are out of Mac's, height.
Oh, true. He without looking, he says over his shoulders. He hears the heels approaching. Gun, do you know anyone that was in here earlier?
No one by the name of Gun in here.
Ah, it turns.
As the door closes.
Apologies, I misheard the footsteps.
Which one's Gun?
The doctor.
The doctor. You mean Bread?
Ah, rifle.
But they said their name was Rye. But it's actually Rifle?
Correct.
You must have a blasting good time with that.
I think it's a fantastic name.
I do think it's quite explosive myself.
You are very much one for wordplay, it seems.
Wordplay is one of the few hobbies in which everyone can enjoy equally.
I suppose this is
Well,
true.
so long as you're not deaf.
Even so, it can be appreciated via written means.
That it can, but it doesn't have the same punch.
Hmm, to each their own. He's like slowly sorting through his he's separating the different pins and stuff to figure out specifically which ones are missing as he's like talking.
All right, so it seems like, definitely some of the, Imperial stuff that you're messing with,
Mm-hmm.
missing, and then, a couple of your other, like, side projects are missing.
That's annoying. Okay. So it's not
Very annoying.
it's not end of the world, but it's like, ugh, this is stupid.
Yeah.
He says, I assume you're in here for a reason. To what do I owe the pleasure, Captain?
Well, the pleasure is that I wanted to experience all the Rossi has to offer. Additionally, I was curious about some of the little things you're doing over there. I did speak to Finn shortly, and, well, then I had to go off in search of where the lovely gun ho Halo was.
Well, he turns towards her fully and raises his arms. You found him.
That I did. So, how did a Halo get into, well, weapons development all the way out here?
She asked, "How did a Halo get that's into weapons development get all the way out here?"
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if she was asking how he got into it or why he's out here. The answer's in the name. Have you ever met another Halo who's in weapons development? Most other Halos haven't.
Well, I have a few guns from Halos who are in weapons development.
So I have noticed. I find that quite fascinating. Are you a bit of a fan of the technology?
Well, Halo being one of the few last bastions of high technology, you want to get the best for your buck.
I see. Aftermarket, then, I assume, never commissioned.
This one is, well, bought and paid for on Halo. I'm sure you're referencing to my rifle.
Yes.
Not your rifle, of course.
His lip
He
twitches a bit,
smiles.
but he keeps his, doesn't show anything else. Um, Not like an irritational twitch, but
But I have,
amused.
but I have a few things which are special commissioned. It's amazing what pacifist will do for protection and credits.
I
It's funny,
see.
really, the entire ordeal your people have with the rest of the galaxy. No wonder you don't need any military. The entire galaxy will rip itself to shreds over you. Must be nice.
It has perks, but more than anything, it's isolating. May I take a look at that
I,
rifle of yours? I promise I won't break anything.
Let you have a gander at it if you explain to me what some of these little projects you're working on are.
Very
Your
well.
associate apparently never speaks to you, so they can't have ever so much a gander or idea what's going on.
Well, that's incorrect. Very well.
Them not speaking to you, or them not having an idea what's going on.
I mean, we speak regularly.
So we just don't know what's going on then.
Whatever goes on in his brain is his.
But you don't ever discuss things over your work.
Oh, of course we do. Is that not what intellectuals do? Whether he
That's what
comprehends
I
it or
always considered.
not is different. It's not exactly his field of work. He's a general engineer.
Well, he seems to fancy himself a bit more than just that.
Well,
He
he's
was
getting
telling me
into
about
it.
his stun gauntlets to fight off the other gauntlets. Quite amusing, really.
To fight off the other gauntlets, do you mean for defense?
Yes, against the other gauntlets.
I don't know about that.
She's she's clearly purposely
Mm-hmm.
misunderstanding. But yes, yes. Tell me about some of these projects and I'll consider your request.
I think I'll need a little
After all,
more
I'm
than that.
a little more than what?
Oh, then I'll
Don't you
consider.
want to have a conversation with
I.
a intellectual? She smiles. Very like a very, dangerous smile as she finishes her sentence.
He. There's a slight pause, but he holds his ground. And he says, "We are currently having a conversation, but information is a commodity, as I'm sure you are aware. It's a two-way street. I can't give all of mine without the assurance in return."
Well, how exactly do I know that the information you have is worth a gander at my weapon? After all, I'm putting a risk by letting well, another crew from another ship inspect my personal weapon.
For some reason, I believe you're not terribly threatened by us.
I wonder why. It's a mystery.
Hmm. Do we have an agreement then? Even if you don't know if my information is useful, I have a feeling you don't doubt it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be asking. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here, I assume. You seem like a very busy woman.
Well, that's what delegation's for.
I
But
see.
I think it can be certainly fair that you answer my question, then I'll let you have a look.
Very well. He's here. He pats the two large turrets. One second, I have notes for this. Right. I IRIS suppression turrets. Rapid firing, cooling system, secondary systems built in, 360 range, no blind spots.
And why do you just have them sitting here on your one partially disassembled in your workstation?
Well, first I plan to understand their inner workings. And after that, I'm going to replicate it best I can. Perhaps repair some of the broken ones.
They are in surprisingly good condition for being pilfered from some salvage site.
Yes, we were very fortunate with our recent finds.
Your recent finds?
Oh, yes, these. He gestures to the turrets.
I'm sure those weren't the only things you found in your recent finds.
Well, I'm sure the rest of them are well and sold by now.
Then there's no problem to tell me what you found. I was there.
We were told not to talk. We have a non-disclosure agreement, right?
Yeah, you do.
Okay, so then he's like, I'm afraid I cannot.
And why is that?
I have signed
Did
an
you hit
agreement.
your head and forget? You think I care about an agreement?
No, but I do.
Or a Halo with standards who's working in weapons development? A bit ironic.
Perhaps, but still here in the flesh before you, following the non-disclosure agreement I have signed. Our benefactors receive what we scavenge, and that is that. We do not relinquish our source. Otherwise, it could compromise further scavenging operations. You must understand, it's for the company.
Oh, I perfectly understand. Now you were saying something else about your little turret projects.
Hmm. I'm fascinated with their ability to release such a rate of fire, but do a low amount of damage in the process. It's less lethal. I believe incorporating that into other handheld weapons would be useful. A non lethal means of suppressant.
There's already plenty of those sorts of things available on the market. Why does there
Yes,
need to be one more?
because I haven't made it yet.
I was wondering when the Halo was going to come out. So, that's your turrets. There's a few other things on this collection of yours, which certainly are not turrets.
He
But
drums his
before you
finger.
go into those, I am curious to understand. You never answered the first question about why Halo. is way out here.
I most certainly did, actually.
Refresh my mind then.
No,
Scatterbrained after all.
no worries. I asked you if you've ever met another Halo fascinated with weaponry, such as I,
And I answered that I have.
and they were still upon Halo.
They were. That's
Hmm.
why I'm so curious. Most Halos who aren't on Halo are safely guarded away behind walls of steel, bodies of flesh, and who knows what else to keep them safe as they crank out research after research after research.
I believe
It's
you've
quite
answered.
rare to see them so far from home,
I think you've answered your own
especially
question,
in.
however. But sorry, continue that thought.
Answer my own question. Hardly.
I believe so.
You're not surrounded by walls of steel, nor are you surrounded by an army of goons. You're out here all alone on a single salvage ship. So
But
what could a Halo be running from?
not running from anything, keeping a safe distance from everything else. Surrounded by walls of steel, I'm within a ship. Bodies, the other crew,
But why
and
would you need to be keeping safe from yourself when any corporation, any company, any nation would pay so much to have you stay with them,
perhaps
even for
I
just a year?
perhaps I don't want to stay with them.
A Halo who has sentiment? Oh no, that's a rare thing indeed.
You'll find most do in their own sense. Our autonomy is rather important to us.
Oh, I know all about it. All about that. The Halo autonomy. So difficult to do anything a little bit nefarious to anything Halo. Starts raising questions where no one wants to answer them. But I digress. I digress. If you say that you are sentimental to this crew and that's why you're here, who am I to judge?
I like the distance it
If you'd
keeps
like,
me
you
from
could.
other places. What'd you say?
If you'd like, you could try to, because you are technically lying to them.
Mm-hmm.
Roll.
Oh boy. Can't lie through omniscience
Yep.
or omission.
Um, she's kind of calling you out on your bullshit, so
Damn it.
no.
Ah, fuck. I'm not a good liar. What
I
is
know
it?
you're not.
Clout what?
Clout fast talk.
I don't about to do to allow a fringe wise.
It will not.
Fuck. That's a crit fail, sir.
That's one success.
Oh my god, it is. Oh, oh. I didn't see the 7. Oh my god. I've gotten so used to Hana crit failing that I just accept it as it happens. All right, never mind. That's one
All right,
success. Jesus Christ.
that's one success. Um, all right. Unfortunately, she does beat you.
Okay, yeah, I'm lying to you. 100%. I'm sketchy as all hell and lying to you. Though
She
she can
just
probably
kind
pick
of
up there is
smiles
a
after
sort of
her.
fondness for the crew. That is true.
Oh yeah, like well, it's like I said, it's not a full lie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
I'm
partial lie.
leaving a
Like
lot of
there's
stuff
definitely
out.
truth in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she knows that, but she's not prying too much right now. She just kind of smiles at you, and there's that like never dangerous twinkle in that in her eye as you definitely get that she sees through it. She knows
Okay.
what's up.
Little spooked by that, but we're gonna fine. It's fine, Hannah. We're safe. Um, and
So
he,
you're saying about your collection here?
I believe I've provided one piece of information.
That you have. Are you saying that there's only two things to tell?
There's probably plenty more, but
Well, then keep on going.
perhaps place the gun down first as a assurance. I don't touch, but I can still visually look at it.
You can look at the butt. It's on my back, is it not? She
Yes, well, that's
smiles.
a distance, unfortunately.
Then let me get closer, she says, stepping closer. There. Now continue.
Excuse me, is I really cold?
After all, you can visually see the rifle now, and it's much closer.
Alright, 2 successes. He's holding his ground.
All right, you're all right. You're all right.
And he says, at least bring it to the front. This isn't very fair to me.
You'll just have to wait for that, now won't you?
Hmm.
After all, I did get closer. You can't
Yeah.
expect me to keep on giving out.
Oh, well, likewise.
I already came closer for you.
That wasn't the original agreement.
The original agreement was that you would tell me about some things. Then
Hmm.
I would show you. There
Alright.
was no specification of how many things.
Well, yes. But I'm not going to tell you all of my things. Man has to have
That's
some
understandable.
secrets.
And if you're making such a big deal out of this, that kind of implies that there's only two things to tell.
Well, you'd be
And then
in.
she kind of gestures to him to go on.
Very well. And he'll kind of go through, like, he'll look through his other projects right now. And actually, he'll look at the ones that he's currently, because he's got, like, several different projects, put aside. And he'll
That he does.
reach over and kind of tap his fingers along the punch gauntlets prototype right now. And, there's a moment of considering talking about that, but then he keeps going. And settles on. I'm trying to remember everything I worked on. There was the plasma cutter, there was... Oh, wait, I have it loaded on my sheet. Oh! Bolter rounds! I'll go over that. And he kind of goes to his, like, there's the small makeshift station of where he was working on this. He says, there's been
I was wondering what all of these little patch holes were for.
Yes, there's been a recent foray into ammunition construction. Usually not my primary field, but I wanted to see if I could do it. I can, for the record. But,
What sparked the interest?
well, the need for the ammunition, of course. I'm sure you're well aware, bolter rounds, and he kind of picks one up and tosses it and catches it, are not easy to come by. Powerful things they are, though.
Her grin kind of widens a bit. You have a bolter on board?
Perhaps.
Oh, you have two? Or perhaps even more. I wonder where such a quaint little ship came across those things. But I think with that little nugget of information, you've certainly earned your prize. She says, leaning her rifle off and gingerly putting it on the desk.
He smiles. Thank you kindly. And puts the bolter round down.
Oh, thank you. So why don't you tell me more about why you're manufacturing bolter rounds?
He takes out a magnification and kind of puts it over. I imagine he has like a one sort of glasses that allows him to do
Yeah,
that.
I, you definitely have such gear.
And he starts picking through because he's specifically wanting to look at what modifications to his original design has been done here.
It's been improved, Hana. It's been improved.
This is an old one. It's old. He's willing to swallow his pride, but he wants to see what they did.
Um, so roll me a attention repairs.
Okay.
If you're being more methodical about it, a brains repairs.
You're very kind. 11 dice.
But being more methodical will mean that she's in here longer with you.
He allows that.
Oh my.
6 successes, baby.
All right. So with 6 successes, you can tell that it's made out of superior materials now, which isn't exactly a big step up.
Mm-hmm.
It's, that just happens over time when more materials are, more easily come by.
Right.
It has much better power regulators in it. After all, it's an energy weapon.
Mm-hmm.
It's able to sustain fire for much, much longer periods of time, whereas the old one, it would start to overheat pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
This one has no problem going full auto.
Okay.
You can also tell it's also capable of long range, which was what your previous design was made to be for, but with the additional allowance for this to be able to just send fire down range constantly,
Mm-hmm.
it can also, be used in close quarters. On top of that, it has a higher capacity than your original design. And finally, it's much more ergonomic,
Aerodynamic.
and yes, there we go, and lightweight.
Okay. Oh,
Has
ergonomic. Okay.
some parts of it which, has some parts on it which, you know, could have been reduced in size, have been reduced in size. Overall, it's basically a complete upgrade. It's still the basic design that you made many a years ago, but with many
Yeah.
upgrades.
He does quietly swear to himself as he's looking at this, like, God, young Hana, fucking amateur
So
hour. What
obvious.
all the things that why didn't you come up with the regulator, you dumb bitch?
Someone else had to do it for me. Ah.
Can't believe
So
this.
while you're looking it over, she does, press the question of, can't imagine there's many opportunities to make enough ammunition to sell on the side. So what's the need for bolter rounds?
What was the original? She doesn't imagine there's enough market to make ammunition on the side.
She imagines that there's not enough material to,
Oh,
make enough to sell on the side.
no, so long
As
as
in she's like looking around. You do not have the capacity to mass produce to make it worth for your while.
oh yeah. Oh, sometimes. He says he's like slowly picking through it, like with his tools. Hair gun. He said, it's worth, even if not profitable, pursuing the venture for the knowledge that is gained. Water rounds are ancient things, and yet still effective in their own right. But you never see them because they're very costly to make. But
And mostly because making proper bolter rounds is lost tech.
it is. That's why experiment and design interests me in these sense. Something that was once lost can be refound and modified back into a new millennia. Oh, they really have improved this, haven't they? Checks the other stuff. So,
Oh, there we go. You're back.
oh, when did I cut out? Hello?
You went into like a robot for like 5 seconds.
Oh, I apologize. Yeah, he says.
It's so good.
What did you last hear me say?
No, it was the you finished with modified and brought into a new era,
Oh,
the Mumia.
he sighed, and to himself he said, "My, they really have improved this, haven't they?" Uh,
You
and
familiar with this particular model?
yes, it's an older one, but I'm familiar.
Well, I imagine on Halo, especially one who's getting into weaponry, they have you take apart and look over all sorts of old things.
Of course, best way to learn is from one's predecessors. If you can improve their work, even better. He
That's
says
what
this with like
I always say.
a tinge of bitterness.
She, she doesn't seem to, pry on that part, as she's like, that's what I always say to everyone. It's why I aspire to be the greatest captain there's ever been.
Oh, how do you?
But that is leading us away from the other topic at hand involving these bolter rounds.
You're
And
very
she,
interested in them, aren't
meanders
you?
over, picking one of them up to, look at it more closely. And of course, I'm interested. Everyone's interested in Terran technology, especially interested when you have Terran made turrets sitting on your desk with Terran replicas for bolters. She plops it down and smiles at you, Hana.
Yeah, it's quite curious, isn't it? He puts it back in its place.
Very curious.
Well, he closes up whatever he'd opened up on the gun, puts it back into place, hands it back over.
She takes it. There's definitely a moment where her eyes quickly flash over to make sure, it's proper before she slings it back over her back.
I assure you I never even turned off the safety. Everything should be functioning as it was.
Fantastic. I'd hate for something to be misplaced.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, drums his fingers over the missing things. You wouldn't happen to have seen someone taking things earlier, would you?
If you mean over there, I can't say I did.
May I detect that?
However, I do know. Yeah, sure. That's a attention interrogation or a clout interrogation.
We'll do intention. Still not a lot. I don't got no fucking interrogation, but one success.
Unfortunately, she seems to be as honest as a clean whistle.
Okay, okay, okay.
As she continues her statement, I do know your co-worker is quite the fibber. Maybe you should speak to him about it. After all, he paints a very different relationship between you and him.
Perhaps. She's a bit of a
Between you and
wallflower.
between you and me, I think he's a bit more of a bit of a wallflower. You might want to watch yourself around him, actually, she says with a large smile. Your your family might not be as closely knit as you think.
Oh.
But I do think this is a wonderful conversation we've had here.
Yes, yes, of course. I do have a couple of
If
questions for you, if you do not
oh,
mind.
well, I guess I can make some more time for you.
Oh,
After
how
all, you've
gracious.
always told me so many new useful things.
Yes, we're just getting acquainted, are we not? Do you
If you
prefer
would like to call it that.
Captain or Freya or what have you?
I prefer Capt.
Captain, very
It's what I
well.
am, after all.
Well, thus is why I've been referring to you as such. But some prefer more casual terms. Varies on the individual. And he Says, you can pull up a seat if you'd like. I'm sure standing in those. And he looks at her heels. Can become exhausting.
Oh, quite on the contrary.
Really?
Of course, she says, as she just kind of like crosses her arms, waiting for what it is Hana needs to say. The smile still plastered on her face.
How is it you found us?
Just one moment.
No worries.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
You're good. He
So, yep.
he says, how did you find us all the way out here?
She grins. Let's call it happenstance.
And it actually is.
Well, Peb was doing some peddling, and a member of your crew happened to be on the station at the same time we were in the area. From there, it wasn't hard to track.
Ah, I see. And the time was a good opportunity to stop by.
Felt appropriate. I do like to have a proper entrance.
You certainly made one. Many were very concerned.
I wouldn't know why we're so friendly. After all, we are legalized privateers of this grand nation that we find ourselves in.
Oh yes, surely. The term raider or pirate can't have triggered anything in anyone.
I wouldn't understand why someone would look downly upon us. After all, we're just here to protect everyone.
Surely. Well, that is enlightening to know.
Um, Finn can probably hear bits of a conversation for like one of the spotches where there's been like had been a patch hole that's not a full patch hole yet. So like if Finn gets close to that, Finn can definitely hear most of the conversation.
He nods
I'm
at her.
sure that wasn't your only question.
Well, there are plenty. I've heard much about you, and
Ram's a big talker, is he?
no, I heard out of character chance when first RPing with Khan for the shits and giggles we rolled. Hana rolled to see if he recognized the name the Morgan, and I got like a crit success, which is how we knew Ram was a raider. So
Ah, okay.
apparently Hana knew what the Morgan was right off the bat, by the name drop.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know how we're gonna run with that, but just I don't know how to incorporate that
So,
now.
so you definitely know of some of its exploits.
Hmm.
Um, to you, it's news to hear that they're a privateer now.
Okay,
You might even think that's a bold-faced lie,
but
um,
well, Melv confirmed it though.
because they've done some. Mel did confirm that they have been a privateer on a couple occasions, but the stories that you've heard,
Mm-hmm.
what they do is very illegal. Even as a
Okay,
privateer,
it's fucked.
they would get their license stripped because no nation would want to be affiliated with that.
What is the
But
stuff we're talking about? Like,
um, we're we're talking, purposely goes out of our way to attack to attack and kill passenger ships. It's one thing to attack a
mm,
passenger ship and then hold everyone their ransom. It's another thing just to kill everyone.
right? Okay, Got it.
just for shits and giggles.
Right.
Most pirates are very profit orientated. With the Morrigan is kind of like how two is all about the image
They're all
of
about their
two.
image. Okay.
Morrigan's all about their image. They have a very bloody image. They're a competent crew. They don't backstab the people who pay them money, but they're willing to do heinous crimes if you'll give them just an ounce of intention.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Because attention sells. And if they're again being a privateer for another nation,
Mm-hmm.
they must be doing something right.
Okay. Then yeah, he will say, "No, I can assure you your crew member is not terribly loose-lipped. I'm aware of the Morrigan, and was the moment he came on board. You have quite the reputation, one that makes me doubt your status as a privateer, to be completely transparent."
Uh, I can helpfully assure you that we are quite legally privateers.
"I'm sure you are. But I need not
How if
paperwork or
you don't?
proof. It isn't any concern to me."
Oh no, no, no! If you don't believe it, I can give you the paperwork. We are going to be connected to the net soon enough.
Hmm.
Just look up our status with the Jova Commonwealth.
Perhaps I will.
Her in service to her undying majesty upon the throne. She says, raising up her hand and doing a mock sort of Jovian salute.
Hana does a very sarcastic salute as well.
Hela pledge your allegiance to another nation. Learning all sorts of new things today. But I
Oh,
digress.
yes. Digress as you need.
How are you feeling now that you know that, well, Ram's a part of the crew?
Already
She says with a
knew.
smile. It's a difference between knowing and knowing, she says with a smile.
Experiencing his interpersonal communications, you mean?
Yes.
Well, I haven't seen much of it yet. But I was aware of what we were all getting into once the name was dropped. I had my expectations. They haven't exactly been quelled, but they have been
Oh, you
subverted.
shouldn't have any concern. So long as you do your part, like I said, you'll get paid.
Of course. I have no doubts about this. I am not much a fan that we are providing you with weapons, to be forthright. Given
You
your
don't like the fact that
history.
you're providing us with weapons. Oh.
Oh, no. Given your
Well, how do you know that we're
history.
going to keep those? We're
Well,
not going to sell them.
if you sell them, it would be fortunate.
But why do you have a problem with selling weapons? Well, giving us weapons, be a little more accurate.
You,
You're a weapons manufacturer, or aspire to be.
I am, and I do as I must. Which is why we are assisting you, and I, in that equation as well. A job is a job, and it will continue to be so. However, given your exceptionally bloody past, I want nothing to do with it.
Do you want to see the ball cannon? I think you will enjoy it.
His eyebrows go up. I would be interested.
It's quite bloody, though. Are you sure?
Well, I'm not the one firing it at anyone, am I? And you didn't fire it at us.
We didn't. I thought about it, but that would destroy Varasi. You don't exactly have shields up to snuff now, do you?
It's doing its best for the old rust can it is. But yes, I
It's
would
more
be
like a
very.
skeleton in a rib cage, then a can, cylinder.
Right, you are. But yes, I would be quite interested in viewing the
Well,
cannon,
when we
if
come
permitted.
across, well, if we come across a vessel which is hostile, I'll be sure to bring you along to fire it.
Not exactly
Give
what
you
I
the
had in
front row
mind.
seat. It's it's not exactly a demonstration unless you get to see it in action.
I don't need a demonstration. I'm simply interested in how it works. I don't need to see it fired to know that.
She smiles. The best part's the outcome.
For you, perhaps.
I think for everyone involved.
I would disagree for me. Not to put a damper on your fun. But I think our enjoyment in weaponry comes from two very different processes.
She does a very dramatic shrug before saying, well, I'm sorry to say, but the only way you're going to likely see it is we have to fire it.
Well, then let's hope we don't come across a situation where that needs to happen. And if it does, I suppose I'll see how it works.
I suppose you will. And I even let you keep a souvenir.
Yes, I
I am,
squint a little
after
bit
all,
at that.
quite the giver.
Ah, generous you are.
I know, thank you. Do you have any other questions?
No
Comments, maybe?
comments,
None?
concerns, all the above, but none that need to be given to you now. I'm sure you have other people to speak with.
That I do, that I do. She does start. She does twist around and starts to pace towards the door. Says, and as she is pacing, she speaks. I do hope that at some point someone does inform me of your where you found those delectable weapons. It's
If
quite
they.
interesting, really, how this vessel has something so valuable on it. But my lips will remain sealed after all. Terran Tech starts wars, and we don't want any of that.
Right, you are. And if anyone else does let you know, please feel free to let us know who it is. Smiles.
I'll be sure to let you know when Ram tells me everything.
Very well, we'll see how that one goes.
And she will open up the door and head
Ah,
on out.
Captain, one last thing.
Mm, yes.
He's got, swarmy smile over his shoulder. If you do happen to find, and he lists the different parts that are missing, please, if you could bring them back, perhaps we can talk guns more then.
I'll see what I can do. That is, if one of my people happen to have some grabby hands.
That's my
I'll be
best
sure to
get.
discipline them correctly.
Oh, do be kind. I know these things are shiny and interesting, though they didn't seem to be going missing until we had some new crew.
Well, it's why I said I mentioned my people and grabby hands.
Of course. A pleasure,
Do look
then.
out for things on your end, though.
Oh, missing anything?
Well, yes, missing anything. You know how fiends can get and miss when you're in a shock. I'm sure it'll turn up, one way or another.
Well, if you have a list of items in which you are specifically in search for, I'm sure you have my the general communications thing or whatever, the pad. I can always keep an eye open.
Of course.
Well then, a
Do
pleasure,
enjoy
Captain.
yourself, Doctor.
Ah, yes, of course. Likewise.
And she'll head off.
He'll go back to what he was doing.
Very good.
That wasn't so bad. See, Finn, she didn't even shoot me. Yet.
Yet. Yet is the proper.
It's alright, you open up with puns with her.
Opened up with puns is a good way to get on her good side, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, Finn comes in like, oh no, watch out. I was like, oh, I just got done talking to the captain. What's wrong?
I mean, Finn already knew it was you were talking, and he was like, he knows what was talked about. So
Yeah, you
his
can
lying
tell it
was
was actually pretty civil.
his lying was not needed. Damn. He lied for you, Hannah.
He did, and he appreciates that, honestly.
It's probably very obvious he lied for you.
It was very obvious.
But you know what?
He
A
has,
for effort.
like nothing. He has like nothing to be able to lie. His clout is one.
Oh, I feel that. I feel that on a spiritual level. If it makes you feel better, I'm pretty sure she can tell I'm full of shit too, which is kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
He's just like, Hannah, I don't think you're telling the truth. Hannah's just like, whatever makes you say that. He says, obviously not telling the truth. But the way you get around that is that if you're swarmy all the time and never truthful.
Yeah, she was able to get you to say some truthful things. She
Oh,
knows
yeah.
the difference between lying Hana and not lying Hana now. She
Also,
got
who's
some very valuable information from this exchange.
Oh,
She's
yeah,
pleased.
she knows about the Terran
knowing
stuff.
that she knows we have Volters on board.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Well, she doesn't know if you still have bolters. She doesn't know. She doesn't know for sure, but she's pretty sure.
Right. He didn't confirm anything. Because he was just
And she
saying
didn't
he was
pry enough.
manufacturing the ammo to see if he could do it, which
Yeah.
isn't a lie, to be fair.
Yep.
Also, whose office is this?
That's technically Rye's office.
Cool, Finn's hiding in there.
However,
her to
it's
leave.
also used. It's mostly used as storage, though.
Wow, poor Rye.
Well, it's because Rye uses this area because the med bay is big enough that she actually has like an office area inside the med bay. So she doesn't need to use the office.
Peeks around corner. Oh, it's fine. I'm just gonna scoot in here. Well, that was terrifying.
So it was.
Hmm.
But yeah, Freya knows for sure y'all found something pretty cool. You have a bale blade on board.
How did you figure that one out?
Making two wears it out openly and proudly.
You know what? That's fair.
So she knows you have that. She knows you have a couple Terran Imperial things. And she now knows that you're making bolter rounds.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like,
there's something going on
oh,
this ship, big time.
something really cool happened here, and I want in on it.
No! Fuck off! Like, leave us alone! This is our cool shit.
You leave Arasi, you come back to Arasi. All the bolter rounds are gone, and there's a note. Thanks. Thanksies.
God, you were
Art face.
pissed. He is actually, after this conversation, going to start locking up the rest of his stuff. Because he's just like, all right, there's interest there, and locked.
Two of the more shinier things are returned to you from one of Freya's underlings.
Okay.
They're still used as identification.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is one of the Terran pieces that's used as a control board
Mm-hmm.
for the turret. The other one is just a firing pin for one of the things you were working on.
Okay. I'll take those back.
And the little letter that they came with indicates that Freya found the crew member who had pilfered some items off your ship, and these are included in some of the items that was pilfered from Arasi.
Oh, good
And if you
lass.
do check up on Melv or Amanda, apparently a few other things were taken, but everything else has been accounted for, and the raiders that are at the airlock are now different raiders, and they seem to be taking things a little bit more seriously about doing their due diligence and making sure no one does anything bad.
Huh. Something bad happened to those other ones. Hana's not gonna think
Who
about it.
knows? Who knows? But the other three pieces are a mystery.
Right,
Don't
they're
know
still
where they are.
gone. Which pieces were
They're still
those?
gone. One of which is for your is what's the word for it? One of them is for one of the various items you disassembled, because there's a lot of guns
Mm-hmm.
at in the
So a
Imperial
miscellaneous
ship.
one.
Yeah, so it was one of the miscellaneous guns which was already broken, and so you couldn't resell, but you could sell parts of it. But you or parts of other ones. So you just had that because you like to
Mm-hmm.
study stuff even when it's broken. Another one was from one of the other laser turrets, and the other one was just from a random project.
Okay.
It is a bit concerning that two Imperial things are still missing.
Which is
But
the miscellaneous and laser turret?
yeah, but while it's concerning, it's
It's not the end of the world.
yeah,
Hana
not
can
at the
make
end of
do
the
without
world,
it.
and yeah, very much so. The only thing there is what's the word I'm looking for? Trying to remember. It was on my tongue. Yes. The only thing there is, well, if Hana believes this pirate lady, that means they somehow got misplaced somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I failed my detect lie, so it seemed like she was being truthful.
Yeah. Well, seemed like she's being truthful, and she followed up on the situation.
Mm-hmm. So there's
Wouldn't
And
trust
it's
the
not like
pirate
these.
lady either way. To be fair.
I mean, he trusts
Yes.
her as far as he can throw her, which is not far, right? He is well aware of authority figures who will act super sweet to you and then be like, and now that you're done with this, bang. So he's no fool, but he's gonna keep this frontal communication as pleasant as possible while we are boarded with them.
Ugh. She really ripped into Finn. Poor Finn.
She did.
Brown.
I was going to say some things with Hana.
Mm-hmm.
She was going to rip into Hana, but then they did the pun thing at the start, and so her mood was improved dramatically.
She was like, I'm coming in here to beat the shit out of this Halo. Oh, you're kind of pleasant to talk to.
Basically, like her entire thing there was like, I hate fucking Halos because they're so full of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're fucking assholes. And that came out a few times in our conversation, but Hana also didn't, rise to a bite.
Yeah, he was going pretty tame for this. He knows when to control his pride.
Yeah, if she wasn't in a good mood, she would have kept it up, and I would have had to make you roll cold to contain yourself
Mm-hmm.
because she wants to get instigating.
Yeah, like the constant like, oh, you have a superiority complex. Oh, you're an arrogant piece of shit. That hurt.
Hey,
That was good. Some of them were, some of them weren't, yeah. No, that was fun. That was really good. I didn't expect the RP to go that well, actually. What'd you say? I don't know. I didn't think that they would get along, I suppose. And any, like, she does like guns. Hana likes guns too. But I don't. True. Well, I don't know if you saw Khan's reaction in the chat. It's kind of great. The how's it going? Really well. Your boss is chill. What? No, it's because of something Ram has told Hana. Hana has a little bit more confidence dealing with these raiders. Um, Ram told Hana about how the raiders taken, whether they like the strays like it or not, they kind of taken strays from unideal situations. Um, he knows. He knows that there is stuff going on, and so he's not as worried. He also knows that they disabled our turrets or our boosters without damaging the ship, which they didn't need to do. Hana's sitting on this. He's not saying anything. He is. That's why he's definitely less afraid than other people. Hey, she can be wise. But yeah, I need to head to work, but thank you for the RP. That was really good.